Rafael has 33 years working with this subject. And well, as I'm a pilot, and I have had a few experiences with UFOs or vehicles from what I consider from other planets, we have decided to share this information and what we have been taught and what we have learned along the way. So, so the question here, and probably you have seen, well, that was the next one. Okay, that's about me, yeah. For you to know that I'm actually a pilot. It's not a lie, or actually nowadays in Photoshop you can do these things. Yeah, so it's not a big proof that I'm a pilot, but it's all I have. I could put my license, but also you can do that on the, so, well, proof. People want proof. Well, that's what I have. Next, yes. So, this one, you probably saw it before. It's about, if you see the glass half full, half empty, or whatever. If your glass being your mind, in this case, it's like this one, it's going to be a little bit difficult to make you understand what we are going to say. So what we ask for today is just to empty your glass a little bit. Give us some room to go in, and if it resonates, good. If not, just let it go. Our group, it's called the Awakened Travelers. It's something that I have created just because I went through a stage of not knowing what was going on in my life. And it took a long time for me to learn what was happening. So I wanted to make some lives easy to help people in so to help people in their awakening of the consciousness. It's what we are working with. That's what it is. Once you start experiencing new things or things out of the normal, then we call this the awakening of the consciousness. You stop living in the daily material life, and then you start knowing, thinking, seeing, perceiving new things that are not taught you in school, high school, or even university. So you are in front of a new world of unknown, and you might feel sometimes alone because people around you, it's not in the same frequency, and you might feel quite disturbed probably because of the things that are happening, and we are going to talk about some of them. So our objectives, it's just that what we are doing now, empower people through knowledge. So all we know, we share, and we share our experiences to maybe make them understand a little bit better what is going on. We provide tools to reprogram people because we have been programmed along the years from society, from culture, religion, and so many things. So we have a program in our minds that it's probably not the best for our interest when we wake up to the new reality. So we have a group that supports those newly awakened travelers. So when people in the group is finding these awakening people, we invite them to come in. So the group is a little bit more than 50 now, and we do some activities. We get together, we do meditations, and we talk about what is going on with us. So we also facilitate making connections with those in other systems of reality. What is that? Oh my God, that sounds quite weird. But yeah, we have guides, for example. We come to this planet not alone. There is a lot of help around us. But again, in school, no one tells you this, or high school, or even university. But you find yourself probably hearing a voice or having a feeling that you know that it's not yours, or having some kind of coincidence, which is not really a coincidence. So you feel maybe a presence around you. So we, through learning, through teaching what it is, people can actually make contact with those guides that are with us all the time. We want to create a peaceful and prosperous galactic humanity. It's not enough what we have today. It's a lot of wars around. As I am a pilot, I have traveled all around the world and I have seen all the beauty that we have, and I have been in the sorrow also. Once you go to Africa, you see it's quite different from this. Some parts of Asia also. You find kids sleeping in the floor, all dirty. It's not a good sensation. We live here in a bubble that everything is good. But once you go out and you see the whole planet, then it's something different. So we should move on and create a humanity that it's not no longer thinking about only material things and be so distracted in TV and programs like, I don't even want to mention to give them more power, but there is a lot of things that are distracting us from being a good society and think beyond our frontiers, beyond this atmosphere, because the universe is full of life. Next. So what happens? What is this? Anyone knows? You cannot, you cannot say. Cockpit what? What in the cockpit? A lot of numbers and buttons. And when people goes into the flight, they say, "Oh, so many buttons." Yeah, well, we don't touch all of them. We just touch one or two. Actually, this is a radio. We communicate through this. So in this case, I am communicating with a frequency. It's 131.475. And I have in standby, this is our emergency frequency, which is 1215. So how is this related to ufology? Well, what we are going to say today, it's not in the open media. You won't find this information everywhere. You won't find this information in the boards. You won't see this in cinemas or in the 8 o'clock news. Why? Because you won't see this information because you are not tuned into the right frequency. Actually, all the information is out there, and there is so much. Actually, it's too much information. It's a lot of nonsense, and you have to find the good things among thousands of nonsense. So, well, once you tune into the right frequency, you will get in contact with the right people. You will find the right information, and you will start feeding yourself from one piece. Maybe listening to one guy, it resonates or not. Maybe go to the next one. It's an exploration. The consciousness awakening is an constant exploration, and we are not afraid of being wrong. So it's like everything in life. Maybe you learn something and you realize that it's not correct and you find something else that it's better. The thing is, you need to be tuned into the right frequency. If you are looking at MTV in the whole day at home, you won't find this. So you see, this is an open public event, and people looks like it's not looking for this event because they are not into the frequency. So they may say someday, "Oh, pilots don't say what they see. Poor us. They should be sharing." Well, here we are. The whole group is sharing their experiences. And it's just you need to get into the frequency. So focus your attention on what is important and get rid of all the noise that our society has. Next, please. I'm going to show you a brief introduction that we have made. Yeah, enter. Yeah, next. Let's see. So we need to understand that we live in an infinite universe. It's something that our mind cannot even start thinking about. Only our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, has billions of planets, billions of stars. And it's only our galaxy, the Milky Way, and there are an infinite number of galaxies. So there is a so big number, an infinite number of planets, suns, and it's only in one dimension that we can perceive, and there are others. So someone is trying to make us think that we are alone in the universe, that we are looking for water on Mars and only that, when we have so much proof about extraterrestrial life or non-terrestrial life among us all the time. So we need to, again, empty the glass, open our minds, and start understanding that there is much, much more. And there is a whole universe outside us. There is a universe inside us. We cannot yet understand how it works. Let's listen to them.
Actually, a mounting body of evidence regarding the UFO phenomenon that can no longer be ignored. If you look past all of the alien horror films, the fake blurry UFO videos, and the ancient aliens memes, you'd be surprised at how many former high-ranking government officials, scientists, and military contractors believe that UFOs should be taken more seriously. Former Canadian Minister of National Defense, Paul Hellyer, believes we're already being visited.
With absolute certainty that four different species, at least, have been visiting this planet for thousands of years.
In 2016, Hillary Clinton stated on Jimmy Kimmel that she would search for more UFO files if elected.
I would like us to go into those files and hopefully make as much of that public as possible. If there's nothing there, let's tell people there's nothing there.
Hillary's former campaign manager and former chief of staff to President Bill Clinton and Obama, John Podesta, has repeatedly said he believes the UFO phenomenon is something very serious and worth investigating. Before Podesta left his position at the White House, he tweeted, "Finally, my biggest failure of 2014, once again, not securing the disclosure of the UFO files. # the truth is still out there." 10-year NASA contractor Rob Bigelow, who develops space habitat pods, gave this shocking statement during a 60 Minutes interview.
There has been and is an existing presence, ET presence. And I spent millions and millions, I probably spent more as an individual than anybody else in the United States has ever spent on this subject.
Those millions of dollars Bigelow spent was authorized by the Pentagon's top secret UFO research program called the Aerial Threat Identification Program. Rob Bigelow was the sole contractor. Bigelow continued to explain that you don't have to go anywhere to find ET life because it's right underneath our noses. He also said he's had his own close encounter with an ET. He declined to go into further details. In the New York Times article, Glowing Auras and Black Money, the Pentagon's mysterious UFO program, they mentioned Bigelow even has recovered UFO debris and metal alloys stored in one of his facilities in Las Vegas. They stated researchers also studied people who said they had experienced physical effects from encounters with the objects and examined them for any physiological changes. But here's what most people don't know. In 1993, declassified documents from 1952 revealed the CIA's Psychological Strategy Board made it a mandate to purposely debunk all UFO reports for national security concerns. These documents also revealed that the CIA planned on partnering with the mass media, Hollywood, business clubs, and even the Disney Corporation to discredit all UFO research. The former governor of Phoenix, Arizona, Mike Symington, during the 1997 Phoenix Lights event is a perfect example. The Phoenix Lights were witnessed by 20,000 people or more. Shortly after the sighting, the governor made a huge joke about the event during a national press conference. He had a handcuffed man in an alien costume enter the room and said that people are taking all this too seriously. In 2011, the governor later came forward in the documentary secret access UFOs on the record and confessed that he saw the lights right above him near his house. On CNN, he said it was probably some form of an alien spacecraft. Symington explained at the time he was driven to give an explanation instead of just saying, "I don't know," and admitting to complete vulnerability. He continued to say, public officials need to be more open and more courageous in dealing with issues like this, and that it's time to square up and do the right thing. Hundreds of declassified and leaked UFO documents can be found online, thanks to FOIA requests and tireless researchers. Hopefully more people will learn the truth on the government suppression of UFO research and begin to study the UFO phenomenon with proper scientific methods and an open mind.
I'm from the Zuni Pueblo Indian tribe of New Mexico. And the reason I decided to come and talk with you folks today is because I think that we have a lot of information that has been kept within the Indian communities for a long time. And with things that are happening in the world, I believe that there's a lot of connections with what we have known for centuries, or at least my ancestors. So I believe that it is time to talk about these things and to let the other people know about what we have had for many, many years.
Sort of phenomenon that happens. This is me, right? Lightsaber, but and objects just appear that will then signal to us, and they're quite large actually, and they'll do it over and over again over the course of the night. So we call these cosmic light bulbs, where they're flash bulbs, where they just sort of appear and light up. And then we have these objects. This looks like it's a satellite. It isn't. We go out with satellite charts, and this was at a time when I could work as satellite visible, and it gets very big and then moves over. Sometimes they'll stop and change directions. So these may be very high up in the sky, and then there'll be phenomena that's happening all around us, like those other objects. And the main thing to understand is that if they're doing something like this, what they're really wanting to do is like an invitation, come. Well, how are you going to come? We don't have an anti-gravity vehicle to go there. You go into consciousness and float up to them. You go to them. Does that make sense? Yeah. So here's another one. This spacecraft that I call the one that Kindness is on. I call her. She's an ET with a perfectly round head, like a round, and no hair, no outer ears. That I met in Sherry's apartment the night that Sherry passed away, and Sherry introduced me to her in the worlds of light and dream time. And every single time we've gone out since then, this show has appeared, and it's classically blue to blue white, diamond white.
So as you see, there are quite a few programs speaking about these things, very good channels. So you might consider if it's good if you focus on tune your radio into those channels to learn more about it. And as Dr. Stephen GREER says, we go there on consciousness because we don't have an anti-gravity vehicle. But so many people don't even know that we can do that. People think that dreams are only dreams and nothing but the product of our imagination, but it's actually things that we are living. In the dream state, we learn, we practice things, we communicate with beings, with family, with friends, with beings from other planets, and we can project our consciousness. We can even go out of the body and visit all these friends and even go to different planets and have different interactions. But as we are not, this is not really taught in any schools or high schools up to, until, as I know, up to today. It's very hard for us as a society to really overcome this barrier and start having these interactions with other beings. We just want them to come here personally, land their ships and change everything, when actually we are the ones who need to change things around, make a new society, open our minds for us to really be ready to receive them. Next, please. So you have seen a little bit of story, of history already with that indigenous guy who was saying that they have been having contact. But I'm going through here a different story. Again, history, that's a different thing. And as you see the next one, you know, what is that? Oh, sorry. Yes, that's Cambridge. Ah, that's your hometown? That's great. So you know, that's Cambridge. Next one. I'm not expecting you to read this one. It's just for my reminder. Cambridge was founded, looks like, in 1231. That's quite a long time. So Cambridge, very famous. The biggest minds were going there. Next, please. But let's see. I think this was one of the biggest minds, Copernicus. And Copernicus was born in 1473. 1473, he was born. And again, the university was founded in 1231. So Copernicus was the one who said that Earth is not the center, that the sun is the center actually of our solar system. So what they were teaching before in Cambridge, I'm pretty sure in those times they say we are the biggest elite and we are teaching the best, but they were not right. So I just wonder, how many things are we teaching nowadays that are not right? Even me, I might just have a short vision of, or short understanding of my experiences, and it's something different, but we are trying to expand more and more our consciousness to really understand things. But first we need to understand that probably what we are being told nowadays, it's not right. Next. But what have happened along the years and why is so difficult to progress for us as humans? How is it so difficult to open our minds? Well, this is the case, one of the cases. This is Giordano Bruno. Next. He was born in 1500s, and it's a former monk. Giordano Bruno was one of the first declared that intelligent alien life may exist throughout the universe in the 1500s. May exist. You know what happened to him? Well, they burned him. Yeah, great, isn't it? And now, look at us here, stuck in the middle of nowhere, thinking that we are alone in the universe 500 years later. Next, please. Yeah, in the 1600s, he was put on trial for heresy and paraded naked through the street of Rome. You can imagine if someone else, or someone had an encounter with a being from other planet, is he going to say? So this karma kind of culture that we have, it's it's not allowing us to progress. We are not opening our minds. We need to go further. We need to see further. Actually, in my community, in the pilot community, we have seen UFOs by large, and I have seen UFOs with other pilots. And when I say, could you be sharing this and say, well, not really. And it's because we still keep this Giordano Bruno mindset in our DNA, looks like. Next, please. So, Mr. Kepler, a great one, astronomer, yes. He said, well, he says, today we don't burn astronomers. And I took this from a presentation that Miku Kaku, is that correct? It's one of the best scientists of nowadays. He made a conference in Barcelona not long ago. And it was a Ufology World Congress in Barcelona just 1 month ago, maybe, or two. And he put this slide there, and I like it. And so that's why I'm copying it, because now at least the scientists are saying and are more brave, and they are saying what they think. It's not more Giordano Bruno mindset. But Kepler, in those times, a few years later of Bruno, wrote about an encounter with alien life. But of course, he wrote it in some kind of novel or science fiction style of book, so he was not burned this time. He was clever. Yes. Mr. Carl Sagan, look at what he said. When our illusions about ourselves are changed, some of us may tend to fly into murderous rage. That's what happens. When someone is trying to open your mind and saying something that it's different, then looks like we go crazy. What is going on with us? What is that we cannot accept something different? Why is that we are not open? It's not our time to be open. We want to keep living this life as it is forever. Are we going to do something, or are we going to wait for someone else to do something about it? So we don't solve this giving money to kids on the streets. This is solved by consciousness. And that's what we need to work with, consciousness. Opening our minds and see and look above and beyond. Next, please. So, who were we communicating with in the past times? Who are the gods or the messengers of the past? Did beings of other planets visit us before? Are they still among us? What do you think? Raise your hands, those who think that we have been visited. Well, some don't. Okay, that's good. I have a big friend of mine here. He's actually he's filming this, and I try to convince him every day. He's the Euclidean skeptical of the family. So, yeah, I understand that. But hopefully, maybe today he takes a little bit more. Always open, yeah. He's open. At least he is open. So, probably, maybe he needs to see something that changed his life and his perception. And that's why, at the end, you will see a slide that is see to believe. But actually, and to be honest, it's what happened to me. I had to see it to believe it. It's not that I was not open, but the day I saw it, I said, wow, there is something here that I haven't been told, and I need to go through it and see what it is. Next. So, Indian culture, and there is a book called, what's the name of the book? Okay, that's the name of the book. I cannot pronounce that. Well, I do my best. Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, but it's not my, yeah, oh my. Well, they describe flying chariots or palaces in the sky. So my question is, what were we looking at in the past? And when I do this work with some people around me, and we go to the desert, we do the practices, and we have actually contact, as you saw with Dr. Mr. GREER, with the laser in the sky. We have this kind of communications. And I explain, okay, let's go now, us with our computers, iPads, iPhones, with this tribe that never saw a white person, never saw any technology. So now you try to explain them what you are. Try to explain them how the iPad works. Try to explain them who made the iPad. How does it work? I don't even know how it works. This Wi-Fi, it's amazing. It's information all around us that these devices can decipher. How are we going to explain this to them? It's going to be very difficult. So most probably in the future, they will describe us when, I don't know, our plane like the big bird that came from the sky with a big noise or things like that. So now we are in a different moment that we should understand that those who visited us in the past are beings from other planets more advanced than us. And that's it. Finish. End of the problem. But of course, if I take this driver photo and I show them the photo in my iPad and say, I have trapped all your souls here. And if you don't do this or that, I'm going to erase your souls. And yeah, we can mind control them very easily because they won't know what is true or not and who are those very mighty beings. And even if we get our guns, oh my God, that is going to be very, very easy to control them. So it's what has been happening in this planet for ages. Next one. So yeah, I don't know if it's a good image or not, but this is actually in Montana, USA. This being, it's encountering this other one, taller with a big head. And again, this is a long, long time ago. So what they were looking at. Next. This one, Jesus in Mount Tabor, his transfiguration, when the disciples listened to this, this is my son, listen to him. So who were with Jesus in that moment? We have called them many things. We have called them angels or spirits, or because we don't understand what they are. They are actually beings from other realities, from other planets, from other dimensions, whatever. In this case, and according to the information we have, Jesus was accompanied by people from other planets. So he had a mission and he was supported all the time. And he did as much as he could. But look how he ended. So we are not treating the messengers very well. Next, please. Very good. We have something about the Prophet Muhammad also. And as you know, Muhammad was an illiterate person. He didn't know how to write. He didn't know how to read. And he gave us an amazing book as Quran is. Quran has amazing information, scientific information that was discovered just a few years ago. The mixing of the waters and so many other things. And so how could this person who doesn't know how to read or write give us this book? Who was Archangel Gabriel or Jibril? Archangel Jibril, known as Gabriel in English. So who was he? What he was trying to do? So it's very easy to recognize that beings from other realities, other planets exist, because this archangel, as we call them, it's clearly more intelligent, it's clearly more advanced. It's very clear that Muhammad didn't invent that book, so we have had contact with beings from other realities for a long time. And it's there, it's quite easy to see. For me, say, okay, how can you prove me that we have been contacting people? Well, who is Gabriel? Who gave Muhammad this book? Who was the people who were with Jesus? And who are those who they have been painted in the caves? And so more, and so much more. Up to today, I don't think that our engineers can do something like this. It is going to be very hard for us to do this. And I was inside this one. And I was right there next to the sarcophagus and seeing these massive stones. They are massive. I don't know how many tons, 50, 100 tons, some of them. It's amazing. Inside has one block stone so big, I couldn't see the end of it. So how could they do that? And our scientists, of course, are going to explain that, yeah, with some pushing and pulling, they were doing this, but yeah, okay. How about the engineering? So this guy told me, you want to do some meditation? I said, yeah, of course. So I was there and he said, okay, sit down. And he went to one of the corners, and it was one square, but it was like carved in the stone. And he started blowing this. And the sound came into the whole chamber. It was magnificent. It was amazing. So you can understand that these stones were put in a way that this hole could go up and down again. Who knows? How do you set all these pieces to coincide and make this whole tube inside in those days? I don't know. I don't think it's not that easy. Next. Machu Picchu, Peru. Yeah, big stones. This is a mountainous terrain. You see the mountains. So they have found that the rocks, many of the stones were taken from kilometers away. So in this mountainous terrain, without helicopters, without heavy machinery, well, let's see. Next. Look at the cut of the stones. They are perfect. You cannot put one hair inside there. Look how accurate it is. How they put like puzzle pieces. How were they doing that? Are you going to tell me that they were finding stones that, oh, now we need to find one that has these curvatures here? I think it's impossible. So proof is there. We just need to see it. And are they among us up to today? Because something, yeah, that was thousands of years ago. This is Peru or Shantai-Tambo. But let's see the next one, and you will see that yes, they are among us still. Those are the crop cycles. This is only one. Then Rafael is going to show you maybe a few more or how are they made. But we have been told that crop cycles are many things. They are communicating among themselves. And here we go deep, and we need to understand there are different timelines that they can go through. And for them to come back to the timeline that they desire, they do these kind of crop cycles to understand that they are in the timeline that they want to be and not in a different one. There are, of course, communication with us. This is also works to open gates in our consciousness so we can grow. And of course, communications, it's, hey, we are here. Those who have that faith made this one. But many people are afraid of these strange beings. But actually, I have to tell you that there are hundreds of races exactly similar, exactly equal to us in shape, in forms, in everything. There are hundreds of civilizations of humans outside this planet. Maybe some of them a little bit taller, shorter because of the gravity. The lungs are different because of the amount of oxygen or their system, because some of them, of course, eat different things. But overall, this shape is the most common in the universe. And there are hundreds of thousands of different races out there. Next, please. So, of course, I brought you 1 or 2 videos about UFOs before I start telling you what I have seen. Yeah, let's go to the first one. This is in Chile, in Easter Island. The aircraft, maybe you have to press enter. No, to the other side. Yeah. So the aircraft is taking off. And something is going to fly in front of him. It's going to appear like this. Just be aware of this side Almost, almost, almost. Something is going to take off from here. There you go. You saw it? All of you? Okay. That is what the group of Raphael calls a canepla. This is a small vehicle that it's a surveillance vehicle. And that's it. There you go. Let's see. Let's see if we can see it again. So they are monitoring us all the time. There you go. Up he goes. But that is in slow motion. That aircraft, it's taking off probably at that moment more than 300 kilometers per hour. Yeah, more. That's a heavy jet. And this is a very slow motion. So actually, if you are flying the aircraft and very focused on your takeoff, you won't see it. This video was taken by a mechanic, an engineer that was in the airport. As it is a small airport, people can be there just having fun and looking at the aircraft. So he realized that he got a UFO. Next.
Commander David Fravor still can't explain what he says he saw that day. November 2004, the Navy fighter pilot was on a training mission west of San Diego when he was ordered to check out something in the water not far away. On a clear day, over a smooth ocean, he saw the object, waves breaking over it, and says he saw something hovering above it.
It's randomly moving north-south, east-west, just random. You know, just stopping, going the other direction. Like you could do with a helicopter, but it's a little bit more abrupt. It looks like a 40-foot-long tic-tac with no wings.
Fravor says he and his four-man team tracked the object for several minutes until it just disappeared. Tonight, CNN has learned the Pentagon had a secretive program to research UFOs like the one Fravor spotted. The project was called the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, run by an official named Luis Elizondo.
I think this is a national security imperative. We have clear things that we do not understand how they work.
Look how it moves.
In areas.
It rotates over its axis.
A defense official tells CNN the program cost at least $22 million over 5 years before it was shut down in 2012. According to the New York Times and Politico, which first reported this story, tens of millions of dollars for the project were pushed through by former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. Those publications say a lot of the money for the Pentagon UFO program went to a company called Bigelow Aerospace.
Tens of millions.
A longtime friend of Reid's, Robert Bigelow, a big believer in UFOs. Public records show Bigelow contributed about $20,000 to Reid and his Political Action Committee.
That campaign contributor got research contracts from this program. That just is a bad picture. It doesn't look good for anybody because it's hard to imagine that something that came about that way and profited somebody who pushed for the program was a good use of taxpayer money.
A Pentagon spokesman, in fact, told CNN the program was shuttered because there were, quote, other higher priority issues that merited funding.
It's definitely crazy to spend $22 million to research UFOs. Pilots are always going to see things that they just can't identify, and we should probably look into them. But to identify them as UFOs, to target UFOs to research, that is not the priority we have as a national security matter right now.
But pilots like Fravor, who says he saw something, see merits in the program.
What if it is real? Because I think it's real because it's time. And what if there's more of these? And what if we do nothing?
Now, just a short time ago, Senator Reid responded to CNN, saying he's, quote, proud of this program and its groundbreaking studies. Speak for themselves, he said. Reid says it's silly and counterproductive to politicize the serious questions raised by the work of the UFO program. The head of that aerospace firm, Robert Bigelow, did not respond to CNN's multiple requests for comment by our deadline. Well, Brian, there's also information.
That's enough, I think. And if I have seen it, and I know a lot of pilots that they also have, don't you think that the US Air Force, the US Navy, and all the Air Forces from this planet haven't seen it? I tell you, yes, they have. Yes, they know. Yes, they have been working with them, as Paul Heyler, Prime Minister of Canada, told you. At least 4 races are working among us. So it's about to tune into the right frequency again. You just stop distracting yourself and go into the information that it is around. It's in CNN. They are just feeding us with small details. So one day we're going to be prepared. They feed us with movies. Even in the cartoons nowadays, you see aliens. So they are preparing us, but it's too slow. Disclosure, as I consider it, it's up to us. It's up to us, opening our minds and understanding what it's outside. So we have to prepare ourselves. They are preparing us very slow, and there is a lot of negative inputs in society that are trying to keep us behind. So now I'm going to share with you my experiences, my awakening, and what I have been taught. And this thing started when I was in the Air Force in 2001. And when I saw something, I just finished my training flight and I was going to have lunch. And in the horizon far away, I saw like a spheric brownish bubble or sphere. And I stopped the car, I started looking at it, but it was quite far away. Then another car was coming and I look at it and I moved myself. When I tried to see it again, it was gone. So I went to the restaurant in the academy and called the tower and said, "You have something flying? Anything?" He said, "No, we don't have. You were the last one flying. There's nothing in the air." So, okay, yeah, thank you. I saw something, but I don't know what it was. That was the first one, so no big deal. Later on, when I was first officer flying in Panama, and we were going from Panama to Cali, Colombia, descending during the night, we saw one light on the right, and it's quite normal for us to spot outside, of course, if other aircrafts are coming, and then we look into our radar, and of course we try to avoid and be aware of what is around us all the time. So these lights start coming into us more and more slowly, and of course we were expecting this in the radar, but nothing happened. It was not in the radar. So we asked the ATC, the air traffic control, if there was something around, and say, "No, you're alone in that sector." Say, "Yeah, but we have an aircraft that is coming into us." "Okay, well, Captain, you have nothing there." "Okay, good. So let's monitor him." So he started coming, up to a point that we could really see what it was. And it was a big sphere of light. Just that, no windows, nothing but light, a big sphere of light that was coming into us. So I was very excited. And in my mind, I started saying, come closer, because I wanted to see it. And say, "Come closer." And he was coming closer. And it was so close, just a few meters away. And I thought it was going to crash into us. And as I was pilot flying, I was in charge of the commands in that moment, I was going to dive the aircraft to avoid the collision. And at that very exact point, that very exact moment, this thing stopped and immediately and simultaneously moved to the front horizontally, did 3 blinks and gone and disappeared. So for us, that was quite amazing. For a few seconds, we were like not knowing what happened, because as we are pilots, we are trained to know how things fly and how to recognize things out there. And there is nothing in our mind that can explain this kind of movement, because there is something called G-force. G-force, it's what you feel right now. It's gravity pulling you down. That this is one G-force. But when you are fast and you try to do a maneuver like this one that the aircraft do, you start feeling 1G, 2G, 3, 4. So the weight of your body increases 1, 2, 3, 4 times more. And if something makes a turn, a 90-degree turn that fast, it could be destroyed immediately. It's absolute death, because when you see these G-forces come your blood starts going down, and that's why the jet fighter pilots have G-force trousers that are blown with air and pushes the blood up again. So you start like fainting, everything. You start looking dark and you faint. And eventually you die if don't correct. So, yeah, that was the first one. Amazing one, yes.
How big was it?
How big? It was, well, let's see, it's big as that sector here of the door up to the first window, yeah. It was quite big. What is that? 4 or 5 meters. I'm not really sure, but it was a sphere of light. So it was a very bright light, but weird enough, it's a bright light that you can look at. It's not blinding light. So you can see, we were like watching out of the window, and my wife says, "Why don't you take a photo?" Hey, come on. I thought it was going to crash into us. It's not time to get the camera and say, "Oh, avoiding maneuver." So yeah, sorry, I don't have the proof, but well, for this you have to believe, because if you want someone to tell you the truth, here it is. Yes, they exist, but of course we show you a few proofs, and what the group does is empower people with knowledge, and finally we go and have the experiences. And there are plenty of groups around the planet that they have these encounters, like the Dr. Stephen Greer that you saw. He has something that is called CE5. It's close encounter of the fifth kind. So they train people and they explain and they teach them how to raise their frequency and open their minds. So off they go to the desert or open sky places, and they have contact. In Peru in 1975, a guy called Sixto Paz received a telepathic message, and he wrote it. He was with his family, but he said, well, that was very weird. Let's try and do that again if we can. And yes, they did. Again, they received a message. But of course, they were skeptical and said, let's try to confirm this communication and find out if it's true or not. And they asked, and they were given a day and a time and a place. And they said, go here at this day, at this time, and we are going to be there. So off they went to, ¿dónde fue? El Chilca fue el contacto. So Chilca Desert in Peru. So they went there, and at this time, at this day, they saw the UFO. Actually, the big spaceship was in front of them, and after some time, they formed a group called Rama, and this group spread in 40 countries, and they have been working with these beings that they call guides, and these guides are helping us to improve our humanity, to make us understand about spirituality, what we are, why we are here, what for. Yeah. So that was my first encounter. And I was very busy in those days, the kids, the family, the job. So, but still, I was very interested in knowing what it was. So, and I said, I'm going to write a book about it. And here it is. I haven't finished it yet, but I have been writing my experiences here as a pilot. And every time I see them, I make notes. And every time I receive something, I make notes, and all the experiences, or many of them, are there. So in order to do my book, I said I need more information. So I was researching, and finding that there are so many books about it. There's so much information about it. And then I start asking pilots, hey, Captain, have you seen something? Well, they don't really say. Yes, I knew that I had to be the first sharing for them to be open. So I was telling them, okay, I saw this. And then they open up after a few hours and say, yes, I saw this, I saw that. They have seen UFOs in plain daylight. They have flown below them. and they have seen in every way possible. And I said, how come we don't know about this? What's the reason for this to remain hidden? I couldn't understand, but I wanted to do more research, and of course, I came to realize that there is a lot of power involved. There is a lot of many groups that they benefit from this kind of secrecy to keep us ignoring all that is outside, because we have a great power inside that once we recognize, we're going to change this humanity very, very fast. So then I moved here to Dubai. I wanted something different. And one day I started seeing these flashes in the sky, as you were shown. And yeah, one day I was in the aircraft, just sitting, looking outside. I say, hey guys, are you there? And they show a flash to me. They say, oh my God, what is this? No, that has to be a coincidence. No, that maybe it was a shooting star or something. It's okay. Probably a few days later, I'm going to try. Hey guys, are you there? Boom, again the flash. Oh my. So then and again many times until, okay, there is someone here that is trying to tell me something that I cannot really understand now. But I'm having some kind of communication, because if I ask and you reply, then we are communicating. I don't know what you're trying to say. I have no idea. But something is going on. So I start doing more research until something happened in my life. There was a change, and I started having more vivid dreams. In my dreams, I was being taught. I was having this interaction with I don't know who that was telling me things. And one day, I asked, what is God? It then explained to me like this. He said, look in your body. Get one cell in your body. This one cell has consciousness. Why? Because it can reproduce. It goes from here to there. It takes oxygen. It does what the cells do. It's a work. They have something to do. Cells, when you are growing up inside the womb, they know, I am going to be a nose, I am going to be a lung, I'm going to be a leg. So it's a lot of intelligence inside. So it says this cell has consciousness, but this cell probably don't know that it belongs to a pilot that travels around the world, probably don't know that what planet Earth is or what solar system is, but still has consciousness. So now go far away, zoom out, and you will see yourself. Then you will see your country. Then you will see your planet. Then you will see your solar system. Then you will see your galaxy. And they told me, your galaxy is one cell of God. It's one cell of all that it is, which is God. All that it is the Creator. This is God. God is not some being that is coming from the sky. It is just part of God, as we are part of God. We are part of the creation of God. We are like this cell in His body. This is God overall. We have a wrong understanding of what is God, because we were looking at these beings coming in these amazing objects, these palaces in the sky, and we were thinking that they were God. But actually, they are not. So one day I was telling this to a group of people, and they say, that's amazing. Really? It does happen? I said, yes. And one of them said, let's see it. And I said, why not? That's a good idea. Let's go to the desert. So it was 3 with me. And I say, yeah, off we go in the afternoon. And I explained all this to them and say, we are going to see flashes in the sky. Once we ask, let's go. So we went. We started chatting, speaking about all this consciousness and stuff. And I started looking and say, hey guys, are you there? Trying to focus. And suddenly, a flash. And I say, hey, they are there. And they start looking. Where? We don't see it. Just wait. And they start flashing the lights off. They went crazy. They were so happy. So happy that finally they understood that, yes, there was someone up there looking at us. They are out there right now. There are thousands of spaceships out there looking at our evolution and doing much more than that. And that's, hello, welcome. And that's why we are here, actually, because we, as a group, and I have brought to Rafael from Uruguay, from this Rama group, we have a lot of things to share, a lot of things to tell you. And this world, it's coming into a transformation that it is going to be a big transformation. There is a big awakening in the, along the planet. And it's an awakening of consciousness. We are getting to know all these things now more and more. And we kept all the time receiving messages. And of course, they are teaching. There are a lot of things in the universe that we still don't know. There are laws in the universe. One of those laws is the law of attraction. The law of attraction says like what you are sending, in some way you are attracting. And oh my God, I said, that could be dangerous, because what is this humanity sending? It is love overall. When we have kids dying of hunger, when we have so many wars, when we are killing each other, what is that we are sending? So probably we are going to receive something that it's on the same on the same way, not so positive. So and probably that's what we need for a change. We need to understand this, that we are creating our reality day by day, and finally we are not probably creating the best reality. So I brought Rafael as a backup, and because he have had communications with them in so many ways for 33 years. In Rama Group, it's probably 40. And these non-terrestrial beings have been sharing information. So Rafael actually gave me 5 books that I'm trying to read about all the experiences that he has had, all these information that they have been given. And they explain to us why we are here, what is going on in this planet. And now it's the time to wake up and understand that we are not alone in the universe, that there is a plan for us, and we should be awakening into this reality to make the plan to be successful. I brought also Mariano. Mariano is from Argentina originally, but he's living in Spain. He has a YouTube channel called El Nuevo Tiempo. It's like the New Times. And he has interviewed so many contactees, and they are sharing quite a lot of information. I think it's big information that we be looking at and understand, because it is the time that so many prophecies have said. So it's what we do. That's the Awakening Travel Program. Help people, empowering them through knowledge, understanding. We speak about consciousness. We do practices. We have contact with those beings. So people actually have their experience, and after having their experience, next one, they start living. You should say, no, you should believe before seeing, but I think that it's not working. People need to see to believe, actually. And that's it. And I'm going to take a few questions, if you have, before giving the microphone to Mariano. Questions? Any? Yes?
When you guys have these many sightings, do you ever have anyone from the cabin or the cabin crew or passengers like going, what the hell was that outside? Or?
Well, most of the time, they fly with the blinds down. Yes, it's not many people looking outside, even pilots. They do whatever they do in the flight deck many times with the lights on, So it's very hard to look outside. In some cases, when they ask, hey, you want light on, light off, because we travel during the night and you can choose, I say lights off. I want to look outside. You have the biggest view. That's the best observatory that you can have. And we go all over the planet. So there are some spots that are very good for looking at the stars. And they just don't look outside. People don't look outside. People just, it's so into the daily things in the movies. And yeah, it's not wondering what it's outside. If, I don't know, my whole life I've been looking at the stars like, ugh. So yeah, it was probably programmed in me. But I can tell you, we were once in the north of Canada. There was the Northern Lights dancing around us. It was amazing. It was beautiful, green, and you see it moving. It is perfect. I'm from Uruguay, so I never seen that before. And I was like a kid. That's great. And in this trip, it was to Seattle. I spoke with the captain about all this. And I told him, we're going to see them on the way back, because on the way in was daylight. So on the way back, we're going to see it. Say, yeah, we're going to see it, I'm sure. Okay. So off we go back to Dubai. And during the night, we started looking at the Northern Lights. And I told him, just wait, look outside. And he said, I'm going to call the crew, because this is an amazing moment and maybe they want to see it. So he calls, and 5 of them come to the flight deck. And they were looking outside at the Northern Lights. It was amazing. And suddenly, when I was doing my paperwork, because yeah, we had to take some notes, and a flash came in front of the captain's window. And he said, hey, I saw it. I saw the flash. And it was, I miss it. But immediately another flash on the right, poof. And say, wow, yeah, I saw it now. And he saw it again. And then on the right, boom. And on the left, boom. It was amazing. The crew started saying, what is that? What is happening? What is that? And I look back and say, that's UFOs. They say, what? And yeah, the flashes start boom, boom, everywhere. But even next to us, very, very, very close. That was September 12, 2018. And if I remember correctly, September 13th, same year, the major observatories, solar observatories on the planet were closed. You just Google it, closure of solar observatories. I think it's going to be September or August? September? I think it's September 13th, 2018. So all the major observatories around the world were closed. With different excuses, they did. So it is a coincidence? No, it's not. There was a big incoming of ships that they didn't want us to be looking at, of course. And things like this happen all the time. And again, my guides, because I could finally recognize that they were my guides that were in contact with me, they were giving me dreams. In these dreams, I'm going to give you one of them. In this dream, I was a soldier from the UK Army. How do I know? Because I saw the Queen Elizabeth, but she was like 20 years younger. And I was doing operations with my friends, and I was just next to her also. And I said, why am I dreaming with this lady? I have no idea. Let's see what it comes. So that day I was flying, and I see the declaration, and I see that the captain, you read the names and nationalities. So captain was from England. Okay, yeah, that's okay. We went flying, we started chatting, and yeah, this conversation just came up, and what do you do? Where are you from? And the normal chat when you meet other person. And he told me, yeah, this is my second career. Oh yeah, that's your second career. That's very weird for a pilot. It's most of the time, all the time a pilot. But this guy worked in something different before. And he says, what are you doing? Oh, I was in the army. Oh, you were in the army? Yes, where? Yeah, in the United Kingdom. Oh, that's very interesting. And where exactly in the army? Oh, yeah, I was working in Buckingham Palace. Aha, really? And have you met the Queen? Yes, of course I met the Queen. I have been with her many times because I was working there. I say, oh my God. So again, my guides show me how I was going to have this interaction with him. And I understood finally that they were giving me objectives. They were giving me something to do. I had to wake up someone. So, and I understood this. It happens so many times. And I say, okay, I'm going to do it. Let's see how can I do it. And well, off we go, start chatting, and he was very interested in the space and all this stuff. So we started talking about consciousness, and I started explaining that all this exists and we can see them. And he said, "Yeah, I know what you're saying. It resonates a lot because my grandfather was a pilot, fighter pilot in World War II, and he wrote a book about the Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters are these balls of light that have been reported for a long time. It is out there, the information." And say, "Yeah, my grandfather, flying in the Second World War as a fighter pilot, these lights were flying around the aircraft." So, and he actually wrote a book about it. And he says, "My grandmother was a British Airways cabin crew, and one of these lights came inside the aircraft, flew along the aisle, and off he goes. I was there. So when I came back, I was so amazed by having that experience because I knew I was there. Not with this body, but with my astral body. And I called my brother to Uruguay. My brother is actually a medium. He is a psychic guy. And say, "You cannot believe what just happened." And he says, "Yes, I can, because I was there with you. It happened this, and this, and it was exactly the same." So it's more proof. They give you confirmation all the time so you don't go crazy. They are watching over us. They are helping us. They know how to do it. Everyone has its time to meet them. But maybe if I don't have the feedback from my brother, I could believe that it was a dream, but was felt like reality. And my brother says, happened this, and that, and it was the same. So I cannot give you proof that can really convince you and say, wow, yes, this is true. But it's up to you to open your mind, your consciousness, to really go into it and understand the phenomenon. Good? Any other questions you have? No? So we can have a break, have a tea, some cookies, and later on we are going to listen to Mariano and some of his interviews. Okay? Good. Thank you.